Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. Just after China issued a statement regarding Nexperia, Antonio Filosa, CEO of European automaker Stellantis, stated at an industry conference in Paris, faced with China, our current system means zero industry autonomy. He pointed out that the current Nexperia chip crisis, and then the rare earth crisis in April, both confirm this. Simply put, Europe is now unable to escape its dependence on the Chinese supply chain, and if China takes retaliatory measures in certain areas, the interests of European companies will also be harmed. When Mercedes-Benz and BMW's chip inventory alarm sounded, and when Volkswagen's Wolfsburg plant production lines came to a standstill, this equity grab, orchestrated by the Dutch government, ultimately turned into a self-inflicted wound to the European supply chain. On the afternoon of November 4, the Chinese Ministry of Commerce's statement that the Netherlands should bear full responsibility was not just diplomatic rhetoric, but a definitive end to this absurd drama. The trump card that the Netherlands painstakingly seized has become a hot potato. When the phrase, zero system autonomy, came from the mouths of Europeans, the reversal of this event had already begun. Let's rewind to September 30th of this year. The Dutch government suddenly invoked a long-dormant Goods Supply Act, seizing control of Nexperia, a Dutch semiconductor company, from a Chinese enterprise. The assets of 30 entities under Wingtech Technology were instantly frozen, 99% of Nexperia's shares were forcibly placed under trusteeship, and its Chinese CEO, Zhong Shuozheng, was dismissed. After this series of moves, the Dutch side hastily distanced itself from the United States. However, in June of this year, US officials made it clear to the Netherlands that to get Nexperia removed from the entity list, the Chinese CEO had to be replaced. This was hardly a national security consideration. It was clearly a transatlantic, coordinated operation targeting Chinese technology companies. The Dutch government's calculations were brilliant. Acquiring Nexperia, a global leader in power semiconductors, would both appease their US ally and keep core technologies in Europe. But they never expected that what they seized was merely an empty shell headquarters. Nearly 80% of Nexperia's global production capacity is located in Dongguan, China, along with 70 to 80% of its packaging and testing business. Nearly half of its customers are from the Chinese market. This is akin to stealing someone's house keys, only to find that the foundation, walls, and utilities are all in the other party's hands. You've only taken an empty shell. On October 26, Nexperia's headquarters in the Netherlands announced it would cease supplying wafers to its Dongguan factory. This decision was like a depth charge thrown into a calm lake, instantly creating a massive upheaval. Every link in the global automotive supply chain felt the shockwaves. From Detroit to Stuttgart, from Tokyo to Paris, automakers' executives were inundated with calls, purchasing departments scrambled worldwide for alternative sources, and production line managers watched inventory countdowns. Nexperia's chips may seem insignificant, but they are the nerve endings of automotive electronic systems. Headlight control, steering wheel modules, battery management systems, charging control, none of them can function without them. Its automotive-grade MOSFETs hold a 12% global market share, and its market share in European automotive-grade small-sized diodes is even higher at 30%. Volkswagen was the first to succumb. Its main factory in Wolfsburg began reducing working hours, and some production lines were completely shut down. The German Association of the Automotive Industry disclosed daily losses exceeding Euro 1.5 million. The European Automobile Manufacturers Association warned that if the problem is not resolved, European car production in the fourth quarter could decrease by 800,000 vehicles, equivalent to the annual capacity of two major car factories. Faced with the threat of a supply disruption from the Netherlands, Nexperia China did not panic. Instead, it launched a precise series of measures, completely thwarting the supply disruption plan from Nexperia's headquarters in the Netherlands. On the morning of November 2nd, Nexperia China announced on its WeChat official account that it had established sufficient finished goods and work-in-process inventory, capable of stably and continuously meeting the order demands of its customers, until the end of the year, and even longer. As for the Netherlands' attempt to use outstanding payments to Chinese suppliers to disrupt the supply, Nexperia China revealed that it owed its Dongguan factory 1 billion yuan, completely undermining its resolve. Following this, Nexperia China announced its business independence, directly bypassing its Dutch headquarters to connect with global customers, and also introduced a strict requirement for RMB settlement. Simultaneously, China's domestic chip supply chain is accelerating its development. In the future, Nexperia Semiconductor's chip products will be produced domestically, thus completely eliminating its dependence on Dutch wafer fabs. Behind this operation is a strategy already laid out by Wingtech Technology. When it was added to the entity list at the end of 2024, its dollar funds were almost frozen. Since then, it has begun building an independent financial system. Now, employee salaries, supplier payments, and customer payments all go through domestic accounts, completely severing financial ties with the Dutch headquarters. Faced with smear campaigns from headquarters alleging product quality issues, Nexperia China directly released test reports and customer feedback, and its official announcement simply stated, "compliant supply," stabilizing the market. On November 4th, Antonio Filosa, CEO of French automaker Stellantis, revealed the collective anxiety of European industry at an industry conference. "Our current system means zero industry autonomy. If you don't believe me, look at the current Nexperia chip crisis, and then look at the rare earth crisis we painfully experienced in April." These words, coming from the head of a European automaker, carry immense weight. Zero autonomy, these 5 words are a ruthless mockery of Europe's industrial policies over the past few decades. Back then, Europe was keen on deindustrialization, outsourcing manufacturing to lower-cost regions while focusing on high-end R&D and brand operation. This model did indeed reap huge profits during the globalization boom, but once the supply chain fluctuated, the vulnerability of the entire system was exposed. The outcome of this game surrounding Nexperia was actually predetermined. The Netherlands thought the acquired shares were a bargaining chip, but found them to be a hot potato. The EU thought it could win both sides, but found itself the biggest loser. China, through its precise countermeasures and restrained goodwill, has demonstrated to the world what it means to seek peace through strength and promote development through cooperation.